I'd like to call the Board of Selectmen's meeting to order for Tuesday, December 21st at 6 p.m. Could I have a roll call, please?
Joe Shank, present.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, present.
Veronica Cal, present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't have a flag, but all right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Good job.
And many thanks to our color guard.
Yes, perfect. All right, I'd like to announce that the meeting is being recorded and it is live on Channel 9. It will be posted on YouTube on the town website after the fact. 1.4, Chairman's additions or deletions. I'd like to add as number 4.5, ratifying the MOU for the IAFF union. That's the Fire EMS union. Are we all good with that?
Yep, I am.
All right. That's the only thing I have for an addition. Do any of you have anything else to add?
I'm good.
Madam Chair, we had a discussion in our last meeting in regards to 478 Main Street for a mandatory referral.
Yes, I have that on June 4th. I thought that the meeting for the CBA was, January 4th, that the meeting for CBA is until later in the month.
Okay.
January 12th.
Correct?
Yeah, ZBA, I think it's January 12th.
Something like that. Yeah, so I put it on January 4th.
Okay.
So we should be good for that. Thanks.
Okay. Well,
Anything else?
I've done some further investigation. So as long as we talk about it, that's.
Yeah, I believe it's on if you look at the agenda for January 4th in SharePoint, it's quite an agenda. It's pretty well underway. So
Okay.
I believe it's in there. I
Okay.
didn't bring that one, so I don't have it in front of me right now. Anything else? All right, public comment period. 1.5, is there any public comment? All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to 3.1, appointments of officials and personnel. Is there a motion to appoint Vincent DeSalvo as the grant administrator, contingent on a Quarry check and pre-employment physical with a 1-year probationary period?
I move that we appoint Vincent DeSalvo as a grant administrator, contingent on a Quarry check and a pre-employment physical with a 1-year probationary period.
Okay, do we need a date on that, Ross?
Have him start as soon as he finishes his Quarry and his pre-employment.
Okay, so we don't have to say today's date. All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? I think everybody's seen his references and etc.
Yeah, I think he did extremely well in his interview. I think he's got a great background as an investigator for the federal government. And I think that this will be something that he can do very well at.
I was very impressed with the knowledge of audits on grants and that kind of stuff. I think he's going to be a great asset to what we're looking for.
I'm looking forward to him starting. So.
Mhm.
And
All right, so
as an added benefit, he's a West Townsend resident.
Yep.
that's right. So perfect. All right, all those in favor of the appointment?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes. So Ross, you'll send a letter to him, an appointment letter, and a offer letter, whatever, including the number of hours, et cetera,
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And what he needs to start a Quarry check and to sign up for the physical.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving on to 3.2. Is there a motion to appoint Michael Crowley as Land Use Coordinator, contingent on a Quarry check and pre-employment physical with a 1-year probationary period?
I move that we appoint Michael Crowley as a land use coordinator contingent upon a Quarry check and a pre-employment physical with a 1-year probationary period.
And is
Second,
there a second?
second,
Thanks, Joe. Any further discussion?
Again, this is somebody who really did very well in the interview. I think he's got a lot of the right background in conservation and will be an asset to the town.
So I agree. I'm looking forward to him starting as well.
This is exactly what we all have been wanting to get the positions filled so that we can start moving the town forward in the planning effort. So I'm all for this.
all good.
All
Perfect.
those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes. So Ross, same things to Michael, I guess.
Yes.
And the other thing is that I've been writing a little document of things that I'd like to see them work on their first day. So I have a list for both of them because a lot of the things that I've been working on are going to get shifted to town staff, which would be Michael and Vinny. So I was going to put something together again for the January 4th meeting, and maybe we can look at that, or I'll give it to you, Ross. I don't know the best way to do that.
You can send it to me. That'd be fine. I will ask them for a start date, tell them we're ready when they are. And Chaz, I will also fill out an onboarding form for them for IT.
Okay.
I think that land use has been working on getting the office together for Michael. He'll be in the regular land use office. And I think they were thinking of putting Vinny in that little room to the right. When you enter land use, the closet there with the window, I think that's going to wind up being the grant administrator office, so that they're all in that area, but Vinny's closer to the Board of Selectmen side, but it's a place to have them have a desk,
Yeah.
a home at town hall. So, sound good?
Okay. Yep.
Good.
All right, perfect. All right, moving on to 3.3. Is there a motion to appoint Sam Bergullio as a per diem firefighter to the Townsend Fire EMS Department for a term effective January 4th, 2022? Do we want to change that to today? Because I had this on the January 4th, and then I moved it to this agenda.
Yeah, that would be fine to make it today.
Okay, for a term effective December 21st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, contingent upon the passing of a Quarry check and a pre-employment physical with a 1-year probationary period.
Says on here 6, okay, one year.
I put 1 year, and here's why. This is one of the things that needs to be looked at with the personnel policies. There are so many inconsistencies that need to be rectified. The definition section of the personnel policies and procedures has probationary period. And if you look at that, it says 6 months. But if you go to whatever it is, Article 7 or some such thing, where they talk about new employees, it says a new employee has a 1-year probationary period.
Yeah.
The 6-month probationary period applies to an employee who is switching from one position to another. So in other words, if, someone in the treasurer's office moved to a new position within the treasurer's office, but they are currently a town employee, they would have a 6-month probationary period in that new position. So it's a little bit inconsistent, the reading of that. And that's why I switched these all to 1 year. They were written as 6 months. And then I thought, wait, this summer when we were appointing people to new positions, I did a 1 year. Why was that? And it's because of the new employees section of the personnel policies and procedure. So that's why it's there.
Madam Chair. Now, I think, Ross, I don't know if you know any more on this, but Sam is being hired as one of the on-call firefighters. Is that the way I understood it? Or the per diem? Does that wording matter?
I believe it's as a per diem. And that's why it was specifically mentioned that way by the fire department when they sent it over.
Okay, because the per diems are like the medics and all that come in that, but he's an on-call firefighter. So I don't know if that really matters. I mean,
It matters.
They're all sort of on call, but the per diems take a regular scheduled shift and they stay at the station.
and that's the question I'm getting at. The per diems take regular shifts. Is he going to be taking regular shifts as per diem, or should we have that as on call?
Now, I believe he's doing it as a per diem. And I think it's good news that we're starting to see per diems come back to the department.
But he's just a brand new firefighter. He's going to go through all the schooling.
I don't know that. I just know that the fire chief and the captain recommended that we appoint him.
Okay, can we move this then to back to January 4th?
I think we ought to vote on it, but can I just take a minute and reach out and get something clarified and come back? I mean, I just want to get that.
I'm okay with that, Joe. If we want to take like a 2-minute recess, can we do that?
Take a 2-minute. I just want, because I'd like to see him get appointed and get on. I mean, every guy we can get, but we got to just be careful that per diem, because per diem, they take on-call shifts. I wasn't under the impression that he was taking on-call shifts. So I don't make a call. I'm going to come right back.
Okay, so we are on recess at 6:14 for 2 minutes.
Anybody back yet? Did we lose Veronica?
Nope, I'm here. Are we ready, Joe?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting back to order at 6:15 p.m.
Okay, just, I clarified that. I have Acting Chief Shepherd on the phone, and he absolutely states that he is on call, not per diem. He will not be taking shifts. So we just needed to clarify that. And I do have Mr. Shepherd on the phone if we think we want to ask him any other questions. He's a paid call fireman.
So we need a motion to appoint Sam Bergullio as an on-call firefighter to the Townsend Fire EMS Department for a term effective today, December 21st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, contingent upon the passing of a Quarry check and pre-employment physical with a 1-year probationary period.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second. All right.
All
thank
right,
you.
any further discussion?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, bye.
All right, all those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes. All right, thank you.
Verify that because I do know the per diems take on-call shifts and I didn't think that that's the way that was supposed to be. So I just didn't want to jam us up.
Okay. All right, thank you. We're going to move on from appointments then to meeting business. Section 4.1. Is there a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen chairman, that's me, to sign the extension through June 30th, 2022 of the town's 2018 CDBG grant?
I move to approve the BOS chairman to sign the extension through June 30th, 2022 of the town's 2018 CDBG grant.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second,
Joe Shank, second. Okay. This will extend both the housing piece and the fuel assistance piece. And I just want to say that we did hear back from Wayne Dara. He gave there's a chart and it's in SharePoint of how the money is going to be expended. He has also agreed to sending a mailing postcard to all town residents regarding the fuel assistance and how it's going to, how they would apply the terms of that assistance. And he will be putting an ad in the paper regarding this, local paper for 2 different weeks, I believe, in January. He is also working on the response that we are required to provide to DHCD, and that's due next week to them. So hopefully we will get that letter this week. I asked him, Ross, to send it to you and to me when he has it done so that we can edit it and that we will send it in hopefully Monday or Tuesday next week. So it's due in. We got the letter that we received was dated November 29th, and we had a 30-day response period. So I'm assuming that if we get it to them by December 30th, we will have made the cut on that.
And just for information purposes, as a member of the Housing Authority, actually a state rep to the Housing Authority, I'm working with the chair of the Housing Trust. We are putting together a short little snippet which talks about the fuel assistance, what's available, and the process involved with that. We've also talked with TCAM, with Dave at TCAM, and he's going to be editing it and putting it on Channel 9 as a PSA.
Okay, great. I did put in SharePoint his response. I think it's called mail or something like that, to what we asked him for, and also to the questions that were read at the last meeting, the public hearing.
Mm-hmm.
He did respond to us by Friday, so those answers are in the SharePoint as well. So, yeah. All right. So is all in favor of my signing the extension then?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
And Veronica Cal, yes. And this is our final extension, as I understand it, for that grant. Another thing that Vinny, when he comes on board, can, that's one of my things in the list for him to take a look at and kind of manage for us. Make sure we're on track with spending all the funds that we did receive from the federal government. Otherwise, we have to return them, including the fuel assistance. And he will be very good for that from what I read, if need be.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. So the signed form, you should have that in hand, correct, Ross, to be sent in? And that should go in tomorrow to Diane Hansen. so that she can get it to DHCD ASAP. So we are granted the extension.
Okay, I have, you said I have the signed extension?
I believe I emailed it to you, being hopeful that we would receive this vote.
Okay,
I'll check my email. If not, I know I scanned it before I left town, and I will make sure you have it.
and you want me to send it to Diane?
To Diane Hanson, yes.
Okay.
I just
Well,
thought she sent it to me last week for signature, but I thought we needed a vote before I could just sign it and send it back to her. All right, moving on to 4.2. This is the bid for the Reimagining Streets project. That went out to bid, and there was a bid opening at the end of November. And we, the low bidder, we received 2 bids, and those are again in SharePoint under 4.2. One was for approximately 54,000. The other was for 39. I put the bid form that we filled out as we were opening on SharePoint. And I am looking for a motion to award the bid for Reimagining Streets, the RRFB, and the ADA compliant crosswalk project, which is at Main Street and Spalding School, as part of the Shared Streets and Spaces grant, to award it to K5 Corporation from Rockland, Mass. So is there a motion? Ross?
Well, would you like to add and have me sign the contract with them to start the project?
Yes, and have and vote to allow Ross to sign the contract for that work. So is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to award the bid for Reimagining Streets, the RRFB and ADA compliant crosswalk project at Main Street and Spalding School as part of the Shared Streets and Spaces grant to K5 Corporation in Rockland, Massachusetts, and allow the interim town administrator to sign the contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes.
And another one we've got checked off there.
Yeah, we need to get the bid out for the bike lanes and the restriping of the crosswalks. So we're working on that.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll get a bid in by late January, early February, that will be ready to go as soon as snow and ice, etc., is gone.
Good.
So we have until the end of May would be ideal, with reporting by the end of June to complete the project.
All right. Well, good job. You guys are doing a great job with that.
Another thing that we can hand to our grant administrator to take a look at.
Exactly.
So anyway, all right. All right. And let me just say, while we're on Shared Streets and Spaces, the Vicksburg signs are up, one by Evans, one at Highland and Route 13 on the little park right there at the end of the road, and one by M&M Auto. So those are the 3 Vicksburg signs. The wayfinding signs, the project, those signs should be in by February, and those will go up in the spring as well. So a lot of new signage coming around town as a result of this project. All right, moving on to 4.3. We need a motion to approve and sign outside of a meeting all 2022 renewals for entertainment licenses, contingent upon the receipt of the required documentation and payment. So is there a motion?
I move to approve and sign out of a meeting all 2022 renewals for entertainment licenses, contingent upon receipt of required documentation and payment.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes, it is unanimous. All right, 4.4 is to discuss, I put the COVID-19 protocols, but it really should be process, I guess, or town hall procedures for the town of Townsend public spaces and Townsend Town Hall and municipal buildings. And this is as a result of, Ross, you maybe can talk more, but you all saw the flashing signs that were up. So Ross, if you want to talk some about this.
Yes, from the Board of Health, the current count of COVID cases in Townsend is up to 83. As a point of reference,
Go ahead.
We were down to about 20, mid-20s, a month or so ago. And that's when we removed the mask mandate. But it was up to 60 something last week. It's 83 this week. The number of positive tests in Townsend is at 10.4% compared to under 5% across the state and a little under 4% for Middlesex County. So it's clearly a number of cases is increasing in Townsend.
Yeah.
Joe, go ahead.
Okay, Ross, and I guess my question is going to be, it sounds like we've got some good numbers as far as the COVID cases, how many positive tests. Then why has the Board of Health stopped sending that information to our fire department? And we are putting our entire fire staff in jeopardy, not knowing where all these cases are. Somebody want to answer that for me?
They've stopped sending the addresses of the cases to the fire department. Is that your question?
Yes, they have stopped reporting to the fire department what addresses that are positive, so that when the fire department is dispatched, they have a list. They know what they're going into. Right now, they're walking into unknown. I was told that the Board of Health has stopped reporting that to the fire department, and I think the Board of Health got that directive. And anybody, Carla, if you're on, you want to correct me, got that from the Neshoba Board of Health. I think that's really, really a dangerous move if we got any numbers in town.
Okay. I see Carla's hand raised. So Ross, if you have something to say before I
No, I was just going to say Carla's trying to speak, and I think she needs to unmute.
Carla, could you unmute? You have the floor, if we can hear you. Carla, could you unmute? I see your hand up. All right, I guess we don't have an answer to that then, if Carla isn't able to participate here.
Carla, if you're on a telephone, I think it's *6 to unmute.
All right, so I guess, Ross, the request is that that information be provided to the fire department and maybe the police department as well.
Well,
to public
usually what they've
safety.
done in the past is provided to dispatch, and dispatch then can notify the responding officers or firefighters accordingly. Well, I talked to the fire department a week or so ago, and they said, I think they confirmed what Joe was saying. They weren't getting that information, but they said they're still showing up with all their PPE on just in case anyway. So I don't think they're taking any risks, but I will see about getting them notified where they have positive cases.
Okay, that would be good. The other thing is, I guess we put up the flashing signs that say COVID on the rise, and I've been following forever. On Thursdays, the Boston Globe puts out the town by town percentage of positive COVID cases. And so for the past 4 weeks, it was 10%, then 11, then 10, then 10. we had removed the mask requirement when it was 4, and then it bumped up to 7, and then the 10, 11, 10, 10. So I guess and so we did put up the flashing signs, and I think that's a good idea to wear masks in, the wording says in public spaces. Maybe we should have said wear masks indoor public spaces on the flashing sign. But other than that, I think that most important thing is to get vaccinations, to hold vaccination clinics. And I saw that there were a couple emails late this afternoon about vaccination clinics coming up. So the more people that get vaccinated, the more that get boosted. Wearing a mask and having that in place should do the best that we can. I expect that the case count will stay about the same percentage with the holidays here. So I don't know that we would be, I guess if the discussion is closing town hall, I don't know what we would be accomplishing by doing that. So what are we trying to accomplish here is, I guess, my question. We know that wearing a mask and getting vaccinated controls the virus. What would closing town hall do? Because I haven't seen a great influx of people into town hall.
No. I haven't heard, Madam Chair, anything about closing. I don't know what this is, and it'd be nice if we could get Carla on here or somebody from the board.
Carla's trying to get on, but I think she needs Hartley as the host to unmute her.
I'll try. Hold on one second here.
I might be able to. Let me see if I can. I'm not the host, but I can see that she's mute. She's muted.
I don't think I have the power to unmute her.
Yes.
I think
We're asking her to unmute, but
no, you should be able to click it. I know when I'm the host, I can unmute people. I can mute
all right,
them
hold
too.
on. I'll okay.
So if you go to participants, Hartley, and you see the little icons on the right-hand side,
Okay, hold
should
on.
be able to just click on that microphone.
All right.
Might work differently if she's on an iPhone, but.
Dave, do you have any idea?
Well, my question, Madam Chair, is I don't think we should turn this into a full-blown panic mode again here. I mean, people are wearing masks. I think the sign should say indoors, not in public spaces, because you got the common, you got, different places. I don't think we should, as a board, be requiring people to wear masks outside, I mean.
Right, that wasn't the intention. It was so the word in should change to indoor public spaces, I think.
And as far as closing town hall, I have no interest of doing that. I think that would hinder more of our residents than it would do to help them. We went through that months ago, year and a half ago. We had town hall closed, and it just, we know we're in trouble. This new variant is not as deadly unless you're unvaccinated. It's moving very quickly by everything I've been reading and seeing and watching. So I don't know if that is the intent from the Board of Health to shut down, but I wouldn't be in favor of that.
Hartley, any luck getting Carla unmuted?
Okay, here's the situation. I found the participants box, and there is an app here or whatever it is, an icon that says I can unmute, but every time I put my cursor on it, a message comes up and blocks it. I can't get to it.
Can Carla just call one of us, put her on speaker, and then we can put the phone and we can at least hear her?
Like Chaz said, excuse me, Jill, like Chaz said, on an iPhone, if she hits *6, it should unmute her.
But what I'm saying is if it's not working, have Carla add
said- She says nothing's working, and I told her to call me.
That
Okay,
works.
Hartley, can you make me the host, please?
All right, hold on.
I just think it's very important to hear from the Board of Health. I really do.
I agree with you, Joe.
Hey, Carla?
Hi, Ross.
I have Carla on the phone. I don't know if you can hear her. Can you hear?
Hello,
I can hear her.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm not at my house and I'm actually stopped driving and I was trying to participate. It's important that you know that the Board of Health did not support closing the town hall. They did not.
Okay.
Good.
They did not. And I have not had any communication with the fire department, nor do I believe the Board of Health ever has. So I'm very confused over how the communication stopped because there was never any communication to my knowledge to begin with.
All right. I do believe, Carla, that the fire department was getting those counts from the Board of Health the way I understood it. And they would have a weekly.
Getting them from the Neshoba Board of Health, but I have never been sending
Yeah.
them. They were never on my list of the weekly report. And I've never spoken to the fire department at all during this whole COVID.
Carla,
Board of
Could-
Health and fire department have not ever met to talk together.
so Carla, could you contact the Neshoba Board of Health and see if they were the ones that had been sending the information? It could have been them. If it wasn't,
That probably sounds like the most logical option.
yeah, so contact them and see if they could restart that, I guess.
And if they didn't, we will certainly, the Townsend Board of Health will certainly communicate. I'll touch base with the chief tomorrow and make sure that the board and the fire department are working together to collectively ensure that everything is communicated properly and accurately.
Yeah, we just want to, Carla, we want to just make sure when that ambulance, the medics or the fire department go out on for any reason, I mean, we don't have a big fire department. And if they all go out and that department goes down, police also, it could be catastrophic for us. And I know in all my talkings with the fire chief, with the captains and the lieutenants of the department, they really use and utilized that information. So when that call came in, they knew that number, that was a hot house. They were prepared.
Okay. That makes even more sense that it was coming from the Neshoba Board of Health and not the Townsend
Yeah,
Board of Health.
and it should go to dispatch because they would cover both police and fire. So we'll find out why it stopped.
I wouldn't put my in the dispatch, but I whatever it's been, how it's, I think it needs to continue.
Carl and I will get together tomorrow and we'll see if we can fix it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. That's all I have to say.
Is there anything else that needs to be discussed with this? Do we want to change the electronic sign, Ross, so it says indoor public spaces?
Yes.
Okay,
And I think it should say public because we're not trying to control what people do in private gatherings.
right.
Absolutely.
So I think my third, because I wrote the message based on what was given to me. The third, there were three, three screens. And on the third screen, it said in public spaces. And I think it should just say indoor public spaces. And I think that should handle it.
Yes.
That's good. I'm good with that. Next.
So I just want to add, Joe, that, we have 2 locations in town that do have vaccinations that are available. One's at McNabb's and one is also at Walgreens. They have availability and they have open availability all next week as well. So, if that is, we have the ability to to assist with the vaccinations and the boosters. You know, it's in the I know that Jenna from the Board of Health, the Neshoba Board of Health, is sending us more information in regards to the clinics for vaccinations and all of that. So if anybody has any questions, they really need to get in contact with the Townsend Board of Health, and they can point you in the right direction.
Yep.
And Carla's been doing a good job of getting that information
Excellent.
out and putting it on the
Absolutely.
website. So,
Among
And
other
I-
things, they do a lot more than just that. So she's been
Right,
very
but-
busy this season.
And
with the
I know
COVID.
ABS has a clinic next Tuesday, the 28th, I do believe, from 10 to 3 or 10 to 5. So people go on that site and sign up. That's awesome. And I know the Board of Health just sent all of us a thing that they're also having a vaccination site in Shirley at one of the churches. So that's next week also. So that's good. The more people we can get vaccinated, the sooner we can get our numbers down and we can get back to normal.
Right. I agree. So Ross, is there anything else to discuss here?
Don't think so. Are you going to send out the modified sign instructions?
I'll send it to Jimmy, but he wanted a signed form and I don't have the ability to to scan that right now, not until Monday. So if you could do that and say, I'll sign off on Monday.
Okay.
Just change in to indoor. And it
Yep.
will fit the number of characters across the line that he requires as well. I think that you can only have 8 characters. So I changed recommend to suggest, because recommend has one too many characters, or recommends, or I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so
Okay, I will do that.
thank you. And on Monday, I'll change anything that needs changed or signed if it needs to be, so.
Do we have anything else for Carla? I think she's still on my phone.
Nope, I'm
I
good.
don't. I don't know if
Thank you.
anybody else does.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Carla. Thank you for calling.
All right,
Okay,
thanks, Carla.
Bye.
All right, so moving on to 4.5, is there a motion to ratify the vote for the MOU for the IAFF contract and to sign it out of session?
I move that we ratify the MOU between the town of Townsend and the International Association of Firefighters, Local 4926. What else do I need in there?
I think these are the same terms that you voted on at the last meeting. It's just now we have the document. So I think your motion is fine.
And just say and sign out of session, maybe?
Yes, I have it upstairs next to the warrant for you to sign.
Okay, and sign out of session.
Second,
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
And Veronica Kell, yes.
And this has been signed by the union, so I think we're ready to go.
Awesome.
All
Perfect.
right, excellent, excellent,
We're moving
excellent.
forward. Everything's going.
Thank you, Ross and Joe, for all your work on this, so.
Well, and Marty and Ron from the fire department.
And acting chief shepherd had a little bit of input. So it was a joint team effort, a little give, a little take, but at the end, it all worked out.
All right, great. All right, so that takes us down to the work session, the town administrator updates and reports. And Ross, I just saw that a little bit ago, so if you want to go through it, that would be great.
The town administrator update, or did you have some referring to something else?
No, the update, I think that's the next thing, right? Updates and your update.
Yes, okay, so recently we received a report from Moody's Investor Services. It's their annual comment on Townsend. And a few snippets here. They say our credit position is healthy. We have a AA3 bond rating, which is good. They say we have a satisfactory financial position. They comment the town's fund balance as a percentage of operating revenue 12.4% is well below Moody's rated cities citywide, but Massachusetts governments tend to have financial ratios lower than the US median. So we're lower by US standards, but we're on par with Massachusetts towns. So I think all in all, they've given Townsend a good rating. We're still looking for a town accountant, and I think maybe the solution is to relax some of our requirements a little bit, maybe get somebody with good private sector accounting, and plan to train this person when they get here. Terry has been absolutely fantastic in helping out as interim. She's willing to stick around for a little bit longer, and then maybe to cut back some, but be available on a training basis. So this might be a way for us to find somebody permanently, because we've had it posted for multiple months and nothing's happened.
So Ross, on that, can I just say, I know that Nicole Figueroa from CSS had offered to send temporary accountants. I don't know that that's really where we want to go, but if we're in a bind, maybe when you're checking in with ARPA projects, ask about that too. Because I really thought maybe 2 weeks ago we would have that. I think my discussion around that was early December with Jennifer. So
I will. Right now, we've got an excellent solution. Terry is really working a lot of probably extra hours to get everything done. But yes, it'll be good to have a backup in case we need it.
okay, thank you. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Health insurance, we had a preliminary discussion with the representatives from Maya. They're thinking increases might be in the 8 to 10% range, which I told them is not acceptable. I've reactivated the Insurance Advisory Committee. This consists of employee representatives from all the groups. We're planning to meet tomorrow with NFP, our health insurance consultant, and we'll talk about issuing an RFP for health insurances, as well as potential plan benefit changes as a way to mitigate these increases. I sent out the FY23 budget guidance letter this afternoon. This went to all departments, committees, and boards. And that's all their budget requests are due back on January 10th.
Okay.
I want to thank the board and everybody else who was involved in getting the special town meeting together. I also want to thank the voters for supporting our budget increases. This budget addendum will allow municipal operations to continue as it was planned last May. It was truly a team effort to get us this far. I hope we'll have the same type of results for the annual meeting. Massachusetts Department of Revenue certified free cash at $1,075,155. They did that just 3 days before the special town meeting, which was a real relief. And again, Terry was instrumental in getting that done at that point. After town meeting, we still have $915,297.54 remaining in free cash. So I think that's a healthy position as we start to tackle the budget for FY23. Also recently, as of yesterday, DOR set the FY22 tax rate at $17.61 per thousand. This is down from $18.33 last year. That's a good move. It does not translate to reduced taxes because it depends upon people's individual assessments as to what their tax bill will be. But we did manage to get the tax rate down. And again, major thanks to Terry, Vicky, and Rebecca for their work in getting this all done. It's been tough when we're doing this with, interim folks and part-time people and filling it in. Yesterday, facilities manager Rob Beauchamp and I went down to the Harbor Fire Station and we met with the DCR and the Fire District Forest Wardens. They've been renting that space for a number of years and they're still housing their equipment there. They anticipate staying there through the winter, probably well into next year. They think it's an important location for them as they dispatched they've answered 40 calls from that station this year. I asked them to commit to a 5-year plan, and whether that's to get out in a year or to stick around for whatever, I need a plan from them. They apparently also done some engineering studies to survey what needed to be done to address the cosmetic appearance of that building. I asked them to share that with us, and once we know their plans, the town can maybe determine our plans for the site, and then we can figure out what to do with the repairs, and more appropriately, who will pay for them. While we were out there yesterday, we checked on the old Elm Street Fire Station. It's currently a storage location for a lot of miscellaneous equipment and the old antique fire pumper. That looks to me like a treasure that needs to be preserved. I think we need to have a long-term plan developed for this site. And hopefully someone can get together to do that. Rob and I also looked at the old library next to Town Hall. If you overlook the hundreds of boxes of old town records and the layers of peeling paint and dust, this is another great old building. It will be a major undertaking to properly dispose of all those records. Some have to be saved, some can be disposed of, but that's a major project the town should plan probably to fund for, a way to clean up those records. And then again, we need to have a long-term plan and what we're going to do with it, because I think it's a shame to see that building slowly deteriorate. Something ought to be done about it, but it will take an organized group to do that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I guess I'm wondering if facilities has a plan for maintenance of the buildings, such as the Elm Street Fire Station and the old library. Is there a plan in place? Like, do they maintain it? Are we as a town maintaining the buildings that we have that are not in active use right now, the ones that are being used for storage, like the Elm Street Fire Station and the library? Does Rob have a 5-year plan as far as keeping them weather tight, or, making sure that the gutters are clean, that there's not leaking, that, is there anything like that in place, Ross? Do you know?
Not aware of one, so I'd hate to jump to the conclusion and say there isn't one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing Rob checks on it and repairs, like broken windows and obvious failures like that. But I don't think there's a plan. And I think, to be fair to Rob, we ought to give him direction on what we want done with them. I mean, just mothballing those buildings and keeping them status quo is probably not a long-term answer.
Well, I know that
Madam Chair, may I step in here?
Well, let me just say one other thing. I think I'm going to direct to Joe, because I know that Joe and facilities, I thought, and the building inspector and fire maybe, and police last spring, it was May or June. You guys went out, and that's why we were boarding up the Warren Road property. I guess, so Joe and Chaz, you two can decide who talks first. I'm not sure. But I guess what happened with that, Joe? Was there a report that went out as the result of that? I know we found funds to board up Warren Road, and I thought there was another town property that needed boarded up. So this is all part of that in my mind. So who wants to go first? Chaz, should you go first, or Joe?
I can make it real simple, real easy. Yes, Madam Chair, there was a report from everybody. I submitted, I gave to the town administrator. He said he was going to handle it. There was a report from the fire department, the police department, the building department, and the maintenance department. I asked for everyone to give me written comments as to what we should do on all them, and that was all submitted to Mr. Kreidler several months ago. I don't know what he ever did with it. I questioned, I asked. He said he'd handle it. So that's where we are.
Do you have a copy of that report?
I do believe I have copies of all of them. I would just now have to go dig all them back.
I want to step in here and say that we have had several conversations in regards to a lot of properties in town. Number one, Joe went out and we are in the process of what the selectmen want to be able to do as their the planning for the town. And these town properties had something to do with it. To Ross, to let you know, I would like to have the facilities superintendent have a maintenance plan, at least a 5-year, for all of the town buildings, not just these particular ones. That really should be part and parcel for us, for the town to move forward. That's number one. Number two, the town has been sitting on its heels waiting for a master plan. The master plan is a major document that we should be using to move forward on all of our town properties, on all of our things right now. And we've been waiting 4 years for that document. Not having that document, it's very difficult for us to, say we're going to do something in one building and another building without a grand plan. And this is where I think, Ross, you're pointing everything in, is that we need a plan. All right. Having said that, with Joe's inspection with the other town officials, they did submit it to the town properties department. Town properties went over each and every town property that we own and gave recommendations. That's another report that was given to the town administrator at that time. They gave recommendations for certain properties to be given to the Affordable Housing Trust. There were other ones that they said that need to be developed, and those probably need to be able to find grants like Veronica just said. And this is why it's instrumental for us to be able to have a grant writer so that we can then further, I think the what you had pointed out definitely needs to happen. But most importantly is we have to have a plan. So if we're really going to be doing something, I think the effort needs to be to talk to the planning board and say, we need this master plan. I know that the housing authority is in the process right now of a housing production plan. And we need to all meet together to find out what the Board of Selectmen want in what direction to go. Because I know that I want to preserve a lot of these buildings in town, and there has been nothing done with them in several years. The fire station needs some work. I've been looking at that thing since I moved into town, and not one drop of paint's been on there in at least 17, 18, 19 years. These things need to be looked at, and we need to take precedence over the buildings, especially the library and especially the old Harbor Church. And it has to start with that master plan, and we have to get that document done, signed, sealed, and delivered so that we have a roadmap to move forward. Sorry.
I agree. Ross,
Go ahead, Joe.
I will try to find that document in the stacks of everything I've been saving for each month, but it was emailed. Copies and hard copies were sent to Mr. Kreidler, so God knows where that is, but I will see what I can produce. But there was recommendations.
And I'll try to get hold of the town properties committee to see what they've got.
And, Joe, I'll look too. I tend to file these things. I don't remember these reports specifically, and I'm not certain that they came to all of the Board of Selectmen. But I will look and see if I can find those, because I have like 60 zillion email folders that have good stuff in them.
I put forward to everybody because that would be breach of what we're supposed to do. So I sent it to Mr. Kreidler to make sure he forwarded to everybody. I can't answer for what he did or he did not do. But
I don't specifically remember seeing this, but
If you tell me the title of the document, I can search for it as well.
Actually, Ross, I think if you get in touch with town properties, they'll have that document for you.
Okay.
talk to Jody. I think it's Jody, right?
Yep.
Who Jody DeShane should be able to point you to that.
Yep.
So I see that Andrea has her hand up. Andrea, do you have something to add to this conversation?
Yes,
Okay,
you, the Board of Selectmen applied for a reserve fund transfer to board up one of those buildings.
yes, we
So
did.
we took an action within that time frame. I thought that time frame, though, was after Mr. Kreidler had already left.
Right, the inspection, you're correct, Andrea. The inspection happened in the April-May time period. So Mr. Kreidler was still here when Joe and crew inspected the buildings. The one that came back in June, the Warren Road, to get that boarded up because it was all in the same, it was in that time frame. So
Right.
you're correct. The reserve fund transfer was in June. And I don't know that transfer, although it was approved by the Finance Committee, I remember asking about this a few weeks ago. Had to do with something that I saw in a report, and I'm not so sure that fund transfer ever happened. I think they might have taken it out of Board of Selectmen money, they being accounting and the building department.
Well,
I
I
can
will
look
look,
that up because I know I have that.
I'll look back on my record because it would be deducted from our total on the
Right, and I
monthly
know,
report as
Andrea, that I
well.
got that to you. It was late June. I know that I'm the one that filled out the reserve fund transfer for that. and
Yes, I
forwarded
remember
you.
that
We
as
talked
well.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But for the
So-
record, Andrea, we did the inspections early, in the springtime. Mr. Kreidler was here. And I gave everybody 1 week because that's what he wanted. He wanted us to have a report back to him within 1 week. And the reason that building did not get boarded up was because it was in his hands. He was supposed to handle it. I did speak with the building department. The building department said that he was waiting for those answers and never happened. And police department got involved, stating again that it really was a safety problem. And that's when all of a sudden we decided we were going to board that up. And that's what
I think boarding up is a start, but these buildings need a lot more than boarding up. They need a plan on how they can
Yeah.
be renovated, reused, and if you're gonna do that, what is the reuse?
What's up?
And we hopefully will have a land use coordinator and a grant administrator who can help with looking at this, and we can move forward, but the plan is important, like
And
Chaz
yes,
said.
and this is part of the reason why I'm not going to speak for you, Ronnie, but I know that you and I have talked about this when we were on the planning board, how important that the master plan has to dovetail with what we have in order for us to move forward. We have gas in the car right now and we're not moving forward, so we need to be able to get these things taken care of. We have Joe, you did some great work in the spring getting those together, taking the next steps to take care of safety issues, which is always first and foremost. I know that we have properties that have been recommended to the Affordable Housing Trust. We're working on getting the seed money funded for the trust so that they'll be able to do the deed transfers that we need to. We also need to work with DHCD on of those properties to see what we can do to get rehab money for it. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we got the sink unclogged. So now we just need to keep on moving forward with it.
We're getting there. We are. I guess the other thing is 97 Main Street. You had sent an email about that, Ross. I responded to you
I saw that. Thank you.
right before the meeting.
Yep, thank
So,
you.
You're welcome.
I also responded to you, Ross, on that one.
Okay, well,
So is this an opportunity to talk, or should we wait?
no, I mentioned it only in that someone came to my office today asking about buying that site and that building because he has a business plan for it. And I told him that I would look in to see what's involved. I
It's a
think
brownfield site.
that makes it more complicated.
It does. And it is exactly why I attended the Brownfields meeting that MRPC had, because I wanted to get it. I know that it had been put forward last year, and there has been work done there maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, but both the bank and the owner defaulted on the mortgage, and the town did a tax taking. So it's now our responsibility. And being someone who moves in the responsible vein or tries to, I feel like we're responsible for that, and I wouldn't feel good about doing anything anything with it until we had a definitive on that. So
Okay, well, we can talk offline about what's being done then to address the Brownfield issue. But
yes, we need to. And I went to that Brownfields meeting, and I think I CC'd you, Ross, on several things on that. And Glen Eaton is at MRPC. They have applied for the next round of the grant that allows them to service the towns in their area for brownfield sites. And he had told me to apply to that once they have it in hand, and that should be early January that they'll know. And so I was hoping, Vinny has a lot to do. I was hoping that we could work on getting that in place for the town.
Well, one of his major qualifications were incredibly organized, so
Good thing.
I think he can handle it.
Right. So anyway, so more to talk about on that, but I can pull that all together. I have a Brownfields folder. So
Okay.
Anyway.
well, I just summarize all three of these buildings need to have a plan as to how what the town wants to do with them going forward. And just boarding up is not really the long-term answer.
Mhm.
The boarding up was for a town property, again, that was, I think, taken by taxes. That was a residence.
Yeah, and I
That-
appreciate doing that for safety reasons, but that's a Band-Aid. There needs to be a long-term
Yeah.
plan. And maybe it's the town properties committee that needs to get more active on this.
Again, I'm going to stress, we need a master plan before we can do anything else. If we don't have that master plan, we don't have a roadmap.
All right, moving on.
All right. Was that everything, Ross?
That was it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any reports from board liaisons?
Nope.
All right, announcements, communications. I don't think I put anything in that folder, did I?
No, there's nothing in there.
Okay, so I know I've been putting things in for January 4th, but I was trying to keep today relatively short. So our next meeting is January 4th at 6 p.m. Is there, I think we might have done this last week because we weren't planning to have this meeting, to review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session. Ross, yes?
I was just gonna say, we have warrants and now the MOU for you to sign. There's a warrant for $3,752.14 that covers some Medicare and Harper's payroll payments. There's a warrant for $397,718.19 that covers the normal payroll and expenses. It also includes a $244,000 payment to Neshoba Valley Technical School. That's why that appears so high. And the third warrant is $1,567 for veterans benefits. Those are all up on the desk upstairs waiting for you to sign.
Okay, so do we have a motion to sign those out of session?
I move that we review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
Second,
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes. And if they need to be signed by Friday, you guys have that, right?
Yeah, I'll go there. Now, one more quick question. Ross, I seen we voted, I think, tonight on the entertainment things. Those are on that desk. Those all can be signed now, correct?
Yes, they're in a different desk than where the warrant is right now. I think they're inside
Yes.
Carolyn's office, but yes.
All right, so I'll come up sometime tomorrow. I'll sign them, so that's done. Chaz, whenever you can get there, that would be helpful. And we'll
I'll
go
get
from
there Thursday afternoon. I can get that done.
And if nothing else, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Stay safe.
Thank you, Joe. Same to
Thanks,
you.
Joe. Same to everybody. All right, so is there a motion to adjourn at 7:11 PM?
I move that we adjourn at 7:11 PM.
Second,
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes. Merry Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
See you
Night.
next
Christmas,
week.
Lisa.
Bye-bye.